Hi everyone, this is Lada from AstroLada.com, and I'm here with the much loved Marina, Western astrologer. We're gonna have our Saturday girly chat on astrology, but it's not gonna be so girly because we're gonna talk about very serious topic, guys. We have prepared for you horoscopes to give us an example. We're gonna demonstrate what Marina's gonna demonstrate how to predict with directions. Very specific method, very powerful for prediction. We're gonna talk about love and relationships as well, so stay tuned with us. It's gonna be an amazing, and it's kind of freestyling. You can send us answers and questions. You can send us questions we can answer, but ones that are not specific, like, oh, I have this and this, what's gonna happen, when am I gonna find love? Or it's just general questions about astrology, so everyone can benefit while listening to the webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Marina. How are you?
Hello, Lada. Great to see you. Great to talk to you. Finally, struggling with Mercury, but we are ready now.
Yeah, we had to postpone the meeting. Yesterday was the solar eclipse as well as lunar eclipse, and I was like, no way, we can't do it on a lunar eclipse, and I had a headache. So, and finally we sorted it out how to be live here. So hopefully more people can join us because we're doing it through Webinar Jam or something. We'll see. Okay, so let's start. What have you got prepared for us? I'm also, it's kind of spontaneous. Let's see. I'm also surprised to see what you have for us as a start.
Yeah, so first of all, let's try. I want to share my screen so that I can show you one horoscope. Just a second to see. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. How to share it.
It says share screen. There is a green button here.
Yeah, but it makes me choose one of something on my, it doesn't show my, just a second. Yeah, this Mercury is
retrograde.
Awful. Yeah.
It did not affect me because I have nothing in mutable signs, but I have people that for them, their cars broke down, their laptops broke down. It's been a bit crazy.
Well, for me, I can say it's so because it makes trine with my son, so it's not that bad, but I feel it definitely. So I think we are ready. Just a second.
Okay.
Do you see it now?
I see it perfectly. Okay.
Oh, great. Yeah, first of all, I want to thank, this is the horoscope of a boy. Of course, we are not saying names and personal details. I want to thank the mother, which gave me the permission to use the horoscope of her child, because it's really interesting. In this, with this example, I want to show, first of all, how directions, solar directions, how they work, how we can use them. And also, we can comment the topic about our personal will and how some things are so defined in our horoscope that it looks like we can't escape from that.
Fated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
can you first say what solar arcs are for people who don't know? This is a predictive method. Solar arcs where you move each planet from the moment of your birth 1 degree for every year of your life, isn't it?
Yeah, but not only planet. You need to move the cusp of the houses because they are more sensitive, and they depend very much on the hour and of the exact hour that you were born. Because everyone who has been born at this date when you were born has almost the same position of the planets, but they don't have the same cusps of the house. So that's much more sensitive method, and we really need to move the cusp of the houses, because they are the indications that shows some kind of events, real events in our life.
Also, even if you're born on the same day with someone, but you have 4 minutes difference in your birth in the same town, say you're twins, and you're born in the same place by the same mother, but 4 minutes apart, then the degrees of your cusps of the houses change with 1 degree. So it means that for your 1 degree corresponds to 4 degrees, 4 minutes, sorry, correspond to 1 degree, which corresponds to 1 year difference in prediction. So for one twin, they might marry 1 year before the other one, you know, isn't it? Something like that. Or
absolutely, yeah. That's why this method is very sensitive. We use it for finding out the correct time of your birth. It's called rectification. It's really important. If you want to work with this method, you have to, you really need a rectified chart. And yeah, and it can show you very exact what is the time of your birth, but you need an approximate time. That's the condition.
yeah, you can't say I'm born on the 15th, so what's my time?
Yeah, that's very difficult.
Like I'm between 1:30 and 1:50, but I don't know the exact minute, and then we can find it. Say when there was a direction of Saturn to your 7th house and you got divorced, well, we see the exact year and we find it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a very precise method. It shows it's much more different than the others, because if in the directions you have not you have no indications, there can be an event in your life. If it's not allowed for example, to get married in the directions, it's not possible to happen. So
yeah, I got married during Jupiter direction to the 7th house. Cusp was directed to Jupiter, and 2 years later directed to Saturn.
Complicated situation, we can say. But you know something important. You can't get married without Saturn. It's impossible. Yes, Saturn needs to make has to make an aspect to some of the cardinal axes, to your 7th house or your 10th house. If you don't have an aspect from Saturn, you can get married, definitely.
Yes, I can get married again.
Yeah, of course. But you know, there are some kind of rules in the directions. And when we talk about marriage, we need an aspect from Saturn to the cardinal axis.
Yeah, because Saturn gives longevity, doesn't it? And social state.
Make something official and changing your social state. That's exactly what marriage is, you know, the official marriage. So you definitely need Saturn, and Saturn making an aspect to your 7th house is actually something positive if you want to get married. Yeah. So maybe we can talk about the example. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. So that's the horoscope of a boy. Very interesting here. You can see, so his ascendant is in Cancer. The moon, which is the ruler of his ascendant, is in 8th house, and it's in conjunction with Uranus.
How old is this boy? Sorry?
He's a teenager.
Okay.
Just let me check. 2002, so he's 14 years now.
Yeah.
14 years old. Yeah. So we have the ruler of the ascendant in 8th house, and it's in conjunction with Uranus. Uranus is ruling his 8th house. You see that here?
Yeah.
So first of all, it might be an indication that this person is going to experience some kind of you know, crisis in his life, some kind of very transformative event in his life.
And traumatic, unfortunately traumatic.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's some kind of crisis usually.
That's the nature of the 8th house. The 8th house puts us through life and death and spins us around.
Yes, and you see, here we can mention which are the houses that defined our parents. You know, the main houses related with our parents are 4th and 10th house. Actually, all of the astrologers agree with that. There are some different opinions. Some of them say that there are 3 versions of this. Some of them say the mother is defined by 4th house, the father is defined by 10th house. Others say the parent from the same gender, if you're a girl, the mother is defined from 4th house, or if you're a boy, the father is defined from 4th house. And the 3rd version is that the parent who is, you know, the more the strict one, you know, who defines the rules, who has the role of the father. But you know, in some families, it's the mother who
Sometimes the
defines.
father might be staying at home, like nowadays is not possible, while the
Yes,
mother goes and does a career. She might be the 10th house then.
In this case, they say that the father is in 4th house and the mother is in 10th house. In my opinion and in my experience, I have noticed that usually the mother is defined by 4th house and the father is by 10th house. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed as well. 4th house is the nurturing. Unless there was no mother, the father becomes the mother, and the father, maybe then it's a grandmother that's the 4th house, but it's kind of, this is feminine influence that shapes the emotional world of the person.
Yeah, exactly. So in this horoscope, we have areas on the cusp of 10th house, which define the father. So Mars is the ruler of this house. And we can see that Mars, you see it here, it's in a very exact square aspect with this Uranus. You see that? Mars is on the 27 degrees of Taurus and Uranus is on the 28 degrees of Aquarius.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very important, you know, because you have a connection between 8th and 10th house. It means that there can be some kind of crisis, some kind of unexpected traumatic event with the father. That's what it's defined by the horoscope.
Yeah.
And very interesting, when around the age of 11, so we have to move the cusp of 8th house. You see it's 17 degrees. Uranus is 28 degrees, so the difference is 11 degrees. So it means that at the age of 11, according to the method of solar directions, the cusp of 8th house will make conjunction with this Uranus.
So you count 1 degree from the degree of the house cusp to the degree of the planet. And you see when an important event indicated by the aspects between this planet will occur. Unfortunately, that's a difficult aspect, which connected to death father.
Yeah, exactly. You see, this situation is very specific because it's important that Uranus is ruling 8th house. That's very important. When you have an aspect, especially conjunction between the cusp of any house and the ruler of the same house, that's a very important event in the life of the person.
It gives very much the event of the nature of the house, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, in this case, the father dies.
Exactly at the year when the cusp goes to the.
Yes, exactly. I was very impressed, you know, because so obvious.
Your sound went off.
Sorry?
Your sound went off.
Did his father what?
You have no sound? Hello?
Yeah, do you hear me now?
Now it's okay. Yeah.
Sorry. What did you heard last? What was the last thing you heard?
Nothing.
Oh, this Mercury. So I was talking that it's very obvious and it's very impressive how this horoscope defines this event. And I was really impressed, honestly, because this child is born, and you see how it's defined in his horoscope that around the age of 11 he's going to go through such an important and in some way traumatic event. And that's how solar directions work. You know, they show something which is beyond your will.
So this is what we don't have free will over. Basically, these are the fated events in our life that are indicated by solar directions.
In some way, yes. It's a very large topic, you know, and it's very discussed how much is our personal will and how much we can control in our life. And I'm very interested in this topic, and I observe it very often in different horoscopes. In my opinion, there are some events which are really beyond our control, and this horoscope and this exact event is a very obvious example for that.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, one of the reasons is that you have a very exact aspect between Uranus and Mars, the ruler of 8th and 10th house. If the orbit was, let's say, 3 or 4 degrees, you have more personal will, because when the cusp of 8th house makes conjunction with Uranus, it won't make this square at the same time. But in this case, we have conjunction with Uranus and at the same time square with Mars. So you know,
maybe the father might have just gotten sick or something, and then
honestly, I didn't ask. It was a little bit inappropriate, but in my opinion, it was something unexpected.
No. I mean, if there was like a bigger orb between Uranus and Mars, maybe the father would have just fallen sick and something like that.
Yes, and there might be more time to, you know, make. Yeah, exactly. But in this situation, it's really a fate for me. It's very obvious, very impressive, and you know, sometimes it's very helpful when we see this, because you know, there are some people who are you know, hesitating. If I was able to make a change, if I could do something, or you know, make some steps to avoid the situation. But when you see such indications astrologically, you see that you have no personal power. And in some way, I think that it can be a relief, because you see that it's not your personal mistake. For example, you know, some people, when they get sick, or their family members get sick, and the other one can start wondering, well, if maybe I was able to prevent that, if I sent him to the doctor earlier, or if we have chosen another doctor or another therapy, maybe we could avoid that. But when you see that, you can't change. You can't change it. And one of the indications about our personal will is actually how many, and do we have actually exact aspects between our planets.
Okay, so when they're very close aspects between planets, it's almost fate. Positive or negative, it doesn't matter.
Both ways. If it's a trine, it's a positive fate. If it's
I have extremely powerful trines and oppositions with Pluto.
Well, it's personal power. Pluto has a really positive side, you know, and it's very helpful, I think.
It gives you personal power by first raping you, and you're recovering from that. You know, that's how you get your personal power. Yeah, you've been to hell, and you're like, no, I'm very powerful. You know.
Maybe you know, we can discuss just to finish this horoscope. Maybe last time we had a question: what are the indications for becoming a professional astrologer? If you want, we can discuss this in a little bit. Just to finish this one. So one of the things I wanted to show in this example was related with solar art directions, and how some things are really defined, how solar art directions work, and how we can use them to define your accurate time of birth, and how it's that it's really important.
Tell people who want to be able to do their own solar arc directions, if there is a software that does it for them. But there is an easy way. You just count degree. You count degrees till it reaches a certain planet, you know, the cusp.
The main rule is that you need to define, when you have a certain event, you have to define which is the house which is related with that event. You know, for example, marriage is related with 7th house and 10th house. Having a child is related with 5th and 4th house. Emigration is related with 3rd, 4th house, 9th house, also 12th house in some cases. The first step is to define which is the main house related with the event that you're searching. And the next thing, you need to have an aspect between the cusp of the house and the ruler of this house. That's the main rule. For example, in this situation, in this horoscope, if we are searching for changing a home and going to live in another place, we need to analyze 4th house. we have Venus, we have Libra on the cusp, which means that Venus is the ruler. So if we are searching for a time when this person can change his home, we need to find when Venus will make aspect with the cusp of fourth house.
Well, it seems like when? Can you take us? Because I can't see the degrees.
Well, do you see my screen now? Okay, just a second. Yeah, here is how it looks like. You see, here are the aspects between the planets, the birth planets, and the directed planets.
You're showing something else now, but because I can't see your mouse pointing.
Do you see the screen?
Yeah, is the same chart?
No, there are 4 tables in it.
You have to change the screen. You have to change the screen by clicking on screen share and selecting a different screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just click on stop sharing and try sharing.
Okay. I think it's the same. It's the same, right?
Just select, just first pre-click on your screen on the chart you want to show. Select the chart you want to show first. Open it. And then when you click share screen, choose the screen that you want to share in particular.
Yeah, but I wanted to show you from my program, but it looks like it's not gonna happen.
It shows from the program. Wasn't that
can I show it from the program?
Yeah, it must be possible. Yeah.
No. Do you see it now?
It shows black.
Oh God.
Can you just copy the picture and then put it on the desktop? Then we'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, we'll be.
Yes, you will see 4 tables. These tables show different things. We need to observe all of them. The first one at the top, which is that left angle, it shows the directions between the planets. They are also important. Then we have, just a second, is it visible now? Yeah, I got it. Then we have aspects between the planets and the cusp of the houses. And also we need to find aspect between the cusp of the houses and the planets. You know, they work in both directions. Also, interesting is that you can search for aspects between the cusp of the houses. Let's say you move 4th house and you need to find out when it will make some kind of aspect with the cusp of 3rd house. It's also important.
It can make, it can indicate some relocation.
Yeah, exactly. Do you see it now? Please tell me that you see it.
Yeah.
Finally. So yes, here in this table, we have the aspects between the planets. You see here are the natal planets. Here are the directed planets. Here we have planets and cusp of houses. Here is the opposite, cusp of houses and planets, and here are the aspects between the cusp of the houses.
So it shows all the current active transits, directions.
Yeah, this is for right now, actually, directions for 2016. So I can't move it right now because it's not, as we saw, it's not that easy to change the screen. But in my software, I can move with every minute.
Yeah.
The time of the birth, and I can see how it changes these aspects. So, for example, right now in this year, we have aspect. You see, here is Venus, here is fourth house. So Venus makes an aspect with the cusp of fourth house.
Oh, but that's not a traditional aspect. It's one of the smaller aspects.
It's a minor aspect. It's how you say a square and a half. You know, 135 degrees.
Yeah.
It's a minor aspect, but it doesn't matter. All aspects work here. So when you have this aspect, it means that it's possible for you to change your home during this year.
Mm-hmm. I can see he has Saturn opposition the sixth house as well.
Yeah, just a second to see which. You also need to watch which houses are ruled by these planets and where they stay in the birth chart.
So he's seventh house and sixth house.
Yeah, so in his birth house, in his birth chart, Saturn is ruling seventh house and stays in 11th house. And it makes conjunction. Here it makes conjunction with the cusp of 12th house. So you can have a relocation in this period. This boy is very little, he's not working, but if it's someone who is working, we can say that this aspect can be related with his work. You know, sixth house is related with work.
Maybe problems with people.
Yeah, you see here Neptune is in conjunction with seventh house. Yeah. And as I understood from the mother, he has some kind of problems with playing too much video games and this stuff. It's also some kind of addiction, which is related with Neptune. And while Neptune is in conjunction with the cusp of seventh house, this problem might be more serious for him.
Yeah, and it's opposing the ascendant, so it's very much escapism. Maybe he's escaping because he's socially awkward with girls. Maybe because he's afraid from girls as well.
Yeah.
Relationships.
Yeah, another thing very interesting in this horoscope was that the mother said that they have, you know, some kind of worries that this boy has attention deficit disorder.
ADD.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I see that there are some indications that you know, this boy can be a little bit more can have some kind of problems with his attention, but they're not so serious because he has Virgo on the cusp of third house. And the ruler is Mercury, which is burned by the sun. It means that it's very close to the sun.
We call this agitation, that the planet is agitated, and the third house is your mind and attention, on studying, on learning. So I guess the mind is very bright still with Mercury there, but I guess it must be more agitated a little bit with the sun.
In my opinion, because this conjunction is in Aries, in my opinion, this boy, you know, he's always in a hurry. Yeah, he thinks very fast. He doesn't have patience to wait for other people to hear what they are saying, and that's why he loses his interest. Yeah, I think that that's one of the main problems for him. And it is not such a serious problem, you know. It's not some kind of dysfunction of the mind because his Mercury has only positive aspects.
Yeah,
it has trine with Pluto, so it's not hurt, it's not damaged by other planets, and that's why I think that it's not that serious. Another indication is the conjunction between the Moon and Uranus. In some cases, it can make people, you know, a little bit more strange. You know, others can understand them very well, and that's why he may look different to others.
And he's emotionally restless. Moon conjunction Uranus, I've seen those people, they're like a bit like a ball of energy, of nerves as well.
Yes, very nervous, you know, they're not very stable emotionally. Yes, and that's why he may look a little bit more strange. But in my opinion, this boy doesn't have an illness, a real illness. And that's an example how you can use astrology to solve some situations when you wonder, do you have a real problem? Is it something that you can overcome? Is it serious? And that's very helpful, especially
instead of thinking of yourself as a freak with learning disabilities, you realize that actually you're kind of ahead of time and you're restless and your mind is faster than others. That's why you are. This can be extremely helpful to many parents that put their kids to Ritalin and whatnot.
Yeah.
Putting your kids on any kind of medications, which is so typical in some Western world, it's just take the horoscope of your child to see maybe there is other ways. And this is what Marina will be teaching on the 24th of September. I'll be there with her. She'll be doing a webinar. We'll be doing a webinar about how to check exactly in the horoscope of a child. And most of us, we're women here, probably have children or intend to have children one day. And how to make sense of, and she would explain everything from scratch, from start, even if you don't know much astrology, what the nature of the child is, what its main issues might be, different combinations that might prove out more complicated and difficult, and whether they're stemming from the family or whether they're karmic patterns in the family that are repeating, and what they're and how you can find them out, and if there are ways to correct them. Like, I think it will be extremely interesting webinar, and also even if you don't have children, for yourself to see, because everyone has their inner child, and childhood is the part of time what defines what we become as adults later on, and what our talents are, what our skills are, what our weaknesses are, so we can go and heal those areas, so understand ourselves better. So I'll be super excited to learn about that. It's called Psychological Child Astrology. We're going to put a link for it here, so you can. It's very cheap. It's only what was it, $69?
Yeah.
And it's going to be a few hours. Usually someone will probably charge a few $100s for such powerful information. But we want it to be accessible to people. And I mean, when you take it after that, you can do professional horoscopes for children even. But it will give you some amazing gems that Marina will. I will be learning together, and I will be asking the questions as well.
Yeah, my goal is to make it really useful for people who, from some point, are personally interested, struggling with their children, searching for some kind of strategy, how to manage with your child, how to understand them better. Because in many cases, we are unable, if, for example, your horoscope is very different from your child's horoscope, you're unable to feel how to motivate your child, or how he thinks, what he feels. And in this webinar, I want to help those people who have, or for example, if they work with children, also it can be helpful for them. For people who have children, who work with children, who are interested in that. Also, for all people who are interested in psychology, I think that this webinar will be very interesting. You can learn a lot of information, and I will try to make it useful both for people who are not so, aware with astrology, not so professionally in depth. And even if you're an astrologer, I think that you will find very interesting information, because it will be very structured.
Yes, when you're doing a reading for someone, you can say in your early childhood you had problem at school, very likely because of a too strong authority figure or something, and this pattern comes from your mother, and they'll start thinking, oh my God, yeah, this makes sense, and this is what psychologists do to help people. After days and days of talking, and this, with one look, you can say, this child, you have this and this complex, or whatever, it comes through from childhood. Sorry for interrupting. There you go.
Yeah, no problem. And there are some really simple things which you can use even if you're not a professional astrologer. For example, you can use the elements of the horoscope. If we are using this example that we had just discussed, this boy has his Mercury burned by the sun in Aries. So it's really important, if you understand that fire element is it's related with leader skills, and these people are not so open-minded, not open-minded, but ready to listen to others. It's very difficult for them. You
have to listen to them, yeah. Instead, they're getting ready to be leaders, those people.
Exactly, and if you understand that, you can, focus on that to attract the attention of your child. To describe him the situation, to attract his attention. And also you should know how to treat him. For example, people and children, especially with a strong fire element, you have to show them how you admire them, how valuable are they. And if you want to use their support for something, you have to ask them kindly to show them that you can manage without their help, and to be soft with them. If you're putting and giving orders,
you have to, you have to tell them, my God, I really need your help here.
Exactly. And for every
They'll
situation,
come like a knight in shining armor, those fire people, to save you. I remember my parents trying to impose on my little brother to play the guitar. But he has Mars conjunct the ascendant. The ascendant is your destiny. Mars is such a boisterous planet, and all he cared about is football. So they gave up at the end, and all he does now is football. But why did they have to put him through that torture of him with a guitar, and he would hold it so awkwardly, and he would rather smash it than play it, But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You can also see that, which are the skills of your child, what you can expect, what you can develop, because in some cases, the child, if it's very shy, for example, he can have some kind of talent, and if you are not ready to develop it, it may stay, very, other people may not see it. Because
not only that, when you're not fulfilling your talents, you feel stuck, and you're not truly living your destiny. You're not happy.
Yes, or if you force him in the wrong direction, make him play on guitar, as you said, or play football, or do mathematics. You have to know in which direction, which is the right direction for you and for your child.
And that webinar is going to help us define that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, 24th of September. If you can't make it, the course will be sold after that. It will be sold for the same price on AstroLada.com. I'll put a link there, so it will be available even if you can't be there for the 24th to buy till the end of times.
Yes, also something very interesting, probably we are going to start with that, is how the way you were born affects your life and how important it is. Even the circumstances around your birth, how they affect your life after that.
What if there was a thunderstorm when you were born, for example?
Yeah, no, I don't mean these circumstances. I mean, if it was fast, if it was delayed, if there was some kind of crisis in the family, if somebody has died recently, those type of, if it was an operation, if it was induced labor, or it was a natural labor.
Like if you're cesarean, for example.
It affects very much. Those people, who are born with operation, it's Mars. It's the Mars matrix. Yeah, and the matrix, it's a birth matrix of Mars.
Okay, operation. Yeah, but those mothers feel the least pain because they're operated there, while the other one is like being torn apart. But still, Mars is operation.
Yeah.
And is their life more Mars-like?
Yes, there is some kind of force. These people, they may feel that they are pushed always to do something. They are more nervous, impatient.
Just like they were taken out of the womb before they were ready. They were cut out. Someone said, I heard some esoteric speaker say that people born with cesarean children, they are not the right soul in the body, and such kind of scary stuff that kind of freaked me out. What do you think?
Honestly, I don't agree with that. I
believe that it's predestined anyway. The soul knew it was going to get born cesarean, or if it wanted a specific hour, even it imposed that cesarean.
I have a very interesting, it's not my personal case, but I have been told about it. About the family which were professional astrologers, and they decided to have a child, and they were planning when they will want their child to be born, because they calculated not only the date but also the hour. So in some way they were trying to manipulate the situation, the horoscope of the child, and there were really beautiful, wonderful aspects in the horoscope. and they had, I think it was a girl. At the first period of the life, it was great. Then suddenly they noticed that it's not developing as usual. It's not really normal, and it turned out that the girl had some kind of mental disorder. It was not, it was an ill child, and in this situation, it turns out that it has wonderful aspects. For example, there might be a grand trine, only positive aspects, but it means how the person accepts the reality. This girl, she's going to be really happy, but she's, it means that she's in touch. She's not in touch with reality.
Oh,
And
wow. Yeah, so you think you're God and you think you can make things the best, but actually, yeah, you can be super happy. Many people in math houses are happy, they're in their own world. But,
yeah, exactly.
So sometimes, no matter.
No, that was my point, that you can't manipulate things. When something needs to happen, it happens.
Yeah.
So it's not a coincidence, and I think that everyone is born at the right time, in the right family, and it's your destiny. That's something that you have to learn some
Can
lessons.
you see from the horoscope the different children, the first child, the second child? Do they really manifest through the houses? Like the first child is the 5th, the second is the 7th, the third is the 9th.
Yeah, I know this theory. Honestly, I haven't observed it. I think that it's defined by 5th house. You may have different indications, and one of the children may be related with with some of the indications in your horoscope, the other with the others.
Say, for example, you have Uranus in Gemini, and Mercury is aspect with Saturn. So one child might be very Saturnian, the other one very Uranian, and the third one very Gemini-like or something like that.
Yeah, I can give you an example. With my horoscope, I have Scorpio and Pluto in Scorpio on the cusp of 5th house, and also Venus in Scorpio in 5th house. And my daughter, she has a Scorpio ascendant, and she's a real Pluto person. She's very little, but she's a really Pluto person. So she takes part of the horoscope. She has taken the Pluto Scorpio energy, and it's really obvious. But there is no Venus here. So if someday I have a second child, probably it will be more represented by Venus. It can be a Libra sun. Yeah.
Taurus, something sweet, easygoing.
Yeah, I can give you something interesting here. We haven't discussed the solar revolution. This chart, which is related with the return of the sun for your birthday. It's for 1 year. So, for example, in my case, when I gave birth to my daughter, Pluto was in conjunction with my ascendant in the solar arc. In the solar return chart. Yeah, and you need to look the solar arc, the solar return chart and the birth chart, and you can make some kind of relations between these, even overlays of the charts. And it's also another one of the methods that we use for predictions. It's very useful in some cases. So, for example, in these cases, you need to watch if you have a conjunction between a cusp of a house in the solar return chart and the birth chart. Like in my case, for example, when I started to learn astrology, the ascendant of my solar return chart was in conjunction with my birth Uranus.
Ah, okay. So this planet comes to the forefront that year powerfully.
Yeah, you make overlays. So first you analyze the solar return chart, then you make an overlay in the related with the birth chart. So this can give us also very important information. And that's one of the methods that we can
what
use.
The year will be like, yeah.
Yes. And even if you are not very aware with, in-depth astrology, even you can look at the sign of the ascendant, and that can give you, Yeah. It's really
Where do you build the chart? Where the person lives or where the person was born?
Oh, that's an interesting question. There
There's so
are
many, like
different.
my teacher swears, the Vedic one, that you can't escape your fate. So you have to always use your birth chart, the place of the birth. But others swear that if you relocate the chart, if you live somewhere else, you have to use that place for the chart.
Yes, I know some people who even they travel on the date of their birth because they want to change the solar return chart. Mm, in my opinion, both of the charts work. You have to, always you have to analyze the place where you were born, and it's more related with some kind of formal events, you know, like getting married, having a child, something
The
really.
fated things, kind of, you know.
Yes, yes. But in some way, we can, you know, we have some kind of personal will here. If you move on your birthday on a different place, you can change some things.
A little bit,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yes. But you need to see the two charts, definitely. And yeah, that's really interesting. Even if you only look at the ascendant of the solar return chart, it can give you very important information. You need to see the sign and also
what
the
house
overlay.
it is. Yes.
Yeah, where it falls in your birth chart.
I
For
remember
example,
when the ascendant of my yearly horoscope, the solar return, was fell in Capricorn, which is my 12th house. I was a bit dazed that year. I was crying a lot, and I had a lot of secretive activities, to say the least. Like I would hide from people, and it was a successful year overall. It was a really good year, but I was just hiding and avoiding people and doing secret stuff, whatever that means. But that's my thing. So, but yeah, it does seem to work like a lot. This.
yeah, they work really well. These solar return charts. Even, you know, one of the things is to watch the axis of the solar return chart, if they're in cardinal signs, in fixed signs, or in mutable signs. Even that can give you really important information. For example, yeah, if you have cardinal signs on the axis, it means that it's a year when you can be more active, you can start more things, things depend on you. For example, if it's first 7th house, it's related to your personal relationships. If it is 10th house and 4th house, it's your social appearance and your career. And if you have cardinal signs on this axis, you can start new things in these areas. And usually this year is full of some kind of changes in your life and new beginnings. If you have fixed signs on the cardinal axis, it means that this year is you know, more stable for you. You can continue the things that you have already started. You can expand some things, but you shouldn't try, you know, to change so many things during this year. And if you have mutable,
that year will kind of stabilize things. Or,
yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
sometimes
good
it works. There are exceptions I can think of.
Yeah, of course, it's one indication. You have to watch the horoscope and also.
Because for example, my current year is with Leo on the ascendant, but the sun, which rules Leo, is conjunct Uranus. So it was definitely a year of huge changes. So it's kind of, you can turn it off because Uranus is big changes and it can turn it off in a different direction a lot. But yeah, the general in most cases is like that.
Yes, we are talking only if we isolate, you know, some indication, because that's our first point, you know. But we have to watch also the other methods, what's happening. It can change the situation. But generally speaking, if you have a fixed signs on the cardinal axis, it should bring some kind of stability in your life.
And what about mutable?
If they're mutable, there can be some kind of changes, but very often they don't depend on you. You are more depending on outer circumstances and other people, usually.
That's very good way, guys, remember actually, even in your birth chart, to think if you have lots of cardinal planets in cardinal signs, which is Libra, Capricorn, Aries, and Cancer, you tend to initiate your things a lot and make a lot of changes through your initiative. If it's fixed, you tend to maintain the status quo and stabilize your life and try to look for security, I guess. You know, that's Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius. You like to carry on in the same direction, kind of to persevere, to maintain. Wow, if you have lots of mutable signs, there will be changes, but that do not depend much on you. That's very interesting. Kind of out, you're like being blown with the wind.
Yes, and things are repeating, you know, first you're in one direction, then you're in the opposite direction. That's very typical for the mutable signs. Generally, you know, in the birth chart.
You know, there is an interesting thing, because in Vedic astrology, they said that the mutable sign people are the ones that are most fit for Earth, because there is a saying, not the strongest survive, but the most adaptable survive. And they usually say if you have lots of mutable planets in Vedic astrology, you can have more successful life. It's kind of possibly more because you adapt. You kind of, oh, the wind blows here, I'll go there. Oh, I've also Democrat. Oh, I'll do this. And I guess that's, you know, that's the most adaptable survive.
Yes, they're much more adaptable. And I think that it depends very much, you know, in the time that you are living, because nowadays I think that we are more focused on doing things on our own, you know, starting some things.
That's why cardinals are kind of, actually in ancient Vedic astrology, they said people with many cardinal signs, they'll be wanderers. They'll be always moving from one place to kind of always starting new things. And they said that these people will be more successful in foreign countries rather than in their own place, because they need such big changes, I guess. And they said that those people they were the biggest threat to ancient Vedic society, because this was remember, that was astrology that was given 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. So that was a society that was conservative. It was not progressive. It wanted to keep and to adapt with the changing times, but to keep the status quo. And people with cardinal signs, that's why the ancient Vedic text says that they'll be less successful in life, because they'll be like starting things. But nowadays we're a progressive society, so it seems like starters, before someone to separate from their village and go and explore new places and adventures, and to say, oh, my father was a smith, I'm gonna be a DJ, whatever. They didn't have DJs then. I'm gonna do something else. You'd be thrown out of the village and of the society. You have to follow the tradition, I guess. But nowadays, these the entrepreneurs, the startups, since 2,000 years, we're starting on an upward, basically, we're starting on a progressive society. That's why the Western societies, not the conservative ones, are moving ahead, you know. And before that, there was a cycle of 12,000 years where knowledge was being lost from the golden age, which was about 12,000 years before before Christ. There was, I'm sorry, I'm going a bit on a tangent, but maybe people will find this interesting, where the societies that thrived were the more conservative ones, because they had more rules, more laws, like Vedic, like, you know, Egyptian, because they were trying to preserve the old order where they had the higher knowledge, where they were in connection with the divine principles. And that's why these societies were the treasured ones. But since the last 2,000 years, gradually we're going on the progressive slope. When we're, for the next 10,000 years remaining, we'll be climbing up to the pinnacle of spiritual knowledge and connection to divine mind, according to the esoteric sources, which will basically, progressive societies, starters, innovators are the one being favored. And you see how the Western world is kind of more attuned to that. And that's why the Western world is kind of, you know, and now the Eastern world is also catching up, but it's more kind of, it's going to start digressing away from materialism, because the densest materialism was in the, you know, the 2,000-3,000 years, when it was the darkest, as they say, the most material. But still, you know, we have a long climb to do. And nowadays, cardinal signs, which are that's coming back to starters, daredevils, entrepreneurs, they tend to be treasured more.
Yeah, the cardinal signs, they're related with our personal will. Yes, people with strong and many planets in cardinal signs, they have a personal will. They can start things, yeah, they can do things. It's related with activity, cardinal signs. Fixed signs, very interesting, they are related with emotions and in some way with stability. Yes, people with many planets in fixed signs, they can be more emotional and their adaptation is more difficult, you know. They are more they get used to some things, they don't like so many changes, they need more time for that, but that's very positive if you want to achieve some kind of stable results, you know, long lasting results. Fixed signs are very good for that.
Yeah.
And the mutable signs, they're related with our mind. So yeah, very interesting. All of the mutable signs, even Pisces, which is a little strange, but it's very intuitive sign related with, you know, receiving some kind of information. It looks like that. So people with mutable signs and planets in mutable signs, their mind is really strong, really developed. They can use it. It's some kind of, you know, their personal skills in this area. So it's also very important to analyze the balance of the planets and
that's what also Vedic astrology said. Mutable signs gives more people with more skills and talents, more talented type of people. They loved mutable and fixed preserved pillars of society. Mutable, they adapt and they mind, you know, and they hated cardinal signs as the who follow their own ideas. Like they have they're like rule breakers type of. Anyway, sorry for interrupting you.
No problem. Yeah, so that's very important, you know, in your birth chart to watch the balance of the signs, and also in the solar return chart. Even in there, you can find some interesting directions for the year. For
the solar return chart, what will be more important? Say in the solar return chart, you have Saturn on the ascendant. Is that more powerful? Or if you don't have Saturn on the ascendant, but the ascendant of the solar return chart falls on your birth Saturn, which will manifest more strongly as a Saturnian year or whatever year?
Usually people who have Saturn in conjunction with their ascendant, I have noticed that during this year they lose some weight. That's very difficult. Yeah. Saturn in conjunction with the ascendant, these people lose weight. So it's a positive year if you want to make a change in this area. You know, it's really important to watch what is ruling Saturn in your birth horoscope, and that will be related. So
what Saturn rules?
Yeah. For example, if your Saturn is in 10th house and your solar return ascendant falls there, it will be related with making a change in your career.
Structures.
Yes, it can be new position. Yeah, more responsibilities. It can be both positive and negative, depends on the other indications. But the main focus, the most important area of your life will be your career during this year, or changing of your social state, let's say, you know, making some kind of change. So that's the most important when you have an overlay between a cusp of a house and the planet. The birth house is, you know, like the main accent.
Highlighted, yeah.
The main focus of the...
Which is one of the hardest ones to have as an ascendant for the year, for the solar return chart.
A sign, you mean?
Houses interlay with your...
Well, eighth house is difficult. Eighth house, you know what's important? When you have a conjunction between the ascendant and the cusp of house, not only to overlay in the house, but to make conjunction with the cusp. Let's say 5 degrees is the orbis. If it makes conjunction with 5 degrees orbis with your cusp of the birth chart houses, that's very important, and you can expect some kind of important event. And 8th house is the most difficult usually because it's related with some kind of crisis. In many cases, it can be even the facing with debts of other people, or the other option is some kind of financial changes in your life during this year. For example, if your solar return ascendant makes conjunction with the cusp of 8th house, your natal 8th house, you have to make some kind of changes in your finances. For example, you know, return your loans, take money from other people. You really need to do that, because otherwise there might be some kind of crisis in your life, because that's the other meaning of 8th house. So that's one of the more difficult positions. Another difficult position is 12th house, of course, which in some way, but it can be more positive if you are more introverted. You know, if you're ready to be, if you're more focused on some kind of personal activities which you practice on your own.
Research, like some people who are very much into deep research, deep thought, or maybe
some kind of psychological
go away for a year, travel. Just like take a sabbatical for a year. So because 12th house is letting go of responsibilities and escaping the humdrum of reality. And the best way I've seen this manifest is people going to, you know, to travel around the world, be away from. But another friend of mine had this, the 12th house from her birth chart as the ascendant of her year, and she relocated to another continent in that year. She was a little bit lonely. Emigration, so that can play out well. But another person went to prison. You know,
also possible.
Like he had Saturn in the 12th house, and the cusp of the cusp of the ascendant for the new year was conjunct that Saturn in the 12th house. So it's kind of
prison, as far as I have been told from my teachers. If you want to see an indication if someone can go to prison, but you know, for a really long time, there needs to be a connection between 12th house and Saturn or Neptune. It can be, it can be Saturn in 12th house, or a planet in 12th house that makes aspect with Saturn or Neptune. These are the indications for going to prison. And it can be both positive and difficult aspects. They both work. For example, I have watched such horoscopes for people that have many planets in 12th and 8th house, and they make trine between with each other. Some of these people, they have, you know, some kind of not official business. Their business is secret, but because there is a trine aspect, they never get caught, you know.
Secrecy. The house of secrecy, 12 and 8th house, like
yes, they are both secret houses, and for these people it's very difficult to make their business legal. And you know, everyone has his own fate, so we are just,
we shouldn't judge, because like what if you come every life as a saint? You know, that'd be the most boring incarnation after incarnation. We come here to learn, and usually even the lives of saints, like I love the story of Saint Ekaterine, I think it was her name. She was a whore and she went to laugh at the church. She went to peace on the church there when there was a Christian gathering, and all of a sudden she had awakening, and from the deepest pits of darkness she became a saint. So I guess a soul has to experience everything in order to be ready for forward moves.
Yes, and also everything has a positive side and a difficult side, a negative side. So in some way it's up to us to decide what we are going to use. Every planet, every house, every astrological indication, trines, squares, everything, it has both positive and negative side. And it's up to us to decide what we are going to use. Yeah, I think so. And that's why people can have some kind of transformations, you know, in their life. At some point, they may change totally. They may start to use their energy for more positive things. For example, Pluto let's say. It can be the planet of the darkest, even the criminals can have a very strong Pluto. At the same time, the greatest healers, they also have Pluto very strong.
Yeah, I've seen people, like, especially with Pluto, that were abused as children, and they went to help people powerfully in their life after that later heal. And I guess they have to be grateful for that abuse, because this is what gave them their mission in life. So it's kind of judging black or white, you know. It's not from the higher self, from the higher, you know, we have this consciousness that's focused here, but there is the higher consciousness that if you want to experience love, for example, you come in this lifetime and your higher consciousness says the best way for you to understand love and to experience it is, for example, in this life, to be born in a situation of total lovelessness, to go through 20 relationships where you're totally abused and there is no love, and then you understand what not love is, and then you will understand what actually love is down the line. So it's kind of, sometimes the contrast can give us the experience that we really need. Sorry. Let's go back to astrology. You were saying that, let's talk a little bit about what if your planets are all above the horizon, or all below the horizon?
Oh, yes, that's very interesting. You know, the first step when we analyze a chart is to look at the bigger picture, you know. First, the astrological elements, and the second thing is how the planets are placed in the horoscope. Are they very close to each other? Are they spread, you know, more at the whole horoscope, or some of them are in the upper side or in the left side? It's very important because
they actually even have something that it's called shapes, like the bundle, the locomotive. We should do a webinar on that. The next webinar will be on finding the shape of your horoscope and what it means for you. You should lead that horoscope. I'm fascinated by shapes. Let's do it in October.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. You know.
Okay, so give us a few examples, like what if you have, sorry.
Even if you watch the horoscope and if you don't understand astrology, if you look how the planets are placed, are they arranged, you know, symmetrically, or there is some kind of really focused place? You can get some conclusions about the personality of this person. For example, if there are planets everywhere in the horoscope, almost everywhere, usually these people are more balanced, you know. They can have different activities in different areas. That's the positive side. The negative side, you know, the more difficult side, is that they may not be so focused in one direction, because they are, you know, like spread in all directions. You know, I want this, I want that, I want everything, and they get some small results everywhere. But as I said, there are always positive and negative sides. And when we have a concentration of planets in some area, usually it means that the person can focus his attention in one area of his life where he can be really good, he can develop very much, he can receive great results, but some other areas of his life are going to be, you know, more difficult or missing for some reasons. Because he's focused only, for example, on his career, and he doesn't have time, he doesn't have energy. The circumstances are related also with that. For example, he doesn't have a partner, he's not interested in children. So you can receive...
there might be those things, but they're like a complementary thing around them.
Yeah, they're not a main focus. Yeah, they're not a main focus.
Like, I made a webinar about stelliums, and we talked a lot about that, in particular, how if you have 4 or more planets focused in one place, you kind of... you almost like you have to dedicate yourself to that area of life, because everything returns you back to that area. Everything spins you in a way. There is a lack of balance there, but at the same time, anyway, go back. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying that it's always positive and negative at the same time. You know. And you can be really successful in something without facing with some kind of challenges. In some other areas, it's just impossible. And we have to accept that. And I think that's nothing. There's nothing wrong or scary.
Like
in
the
this.
Western society expects you to have the children, everything to be perfect, but no. Like you might be amazing in career, but you be total douchebag in your character. Or you can be amazing person, everyone loves you, but you never have career or make anything of significance. It's kind of, you can't draw the lotto and the top luck in every area of your life.
Exactly. You can be really good in everything, you know, and I mean really good in a great scale. For these people that have planets in all of the horoscope in the whole part, they can be, you know, more flexible, but they can't have such focused energy in some area of their
They can be
life.
sometimes like jack of all trades, as they say. a little bit of that.
Yeah, exactly. Something like I think it's something like Gemini, you know, interested in every area, but not to get in depth in something, which also has a positive side.
I envy them. I think they're happier than anyone else. Vedic astrology says if your 7 visible planets, because they work only with the traditional planets, are in 7 different signs or 6. So basically almost all of them are dispersed around. These are the happiest people, happy kind of go lucky. Because they don't have this, when you have many planets jumbled in one sign, it's a little bit like mentally stressful. You're overburdened in that area. You become like a naked nerve there. There is too much, there is kind of unbalance. And those that have their planets dispersed, there is more lightness about them, I would say. They said like your capacity for happiness is higher if your planets are dispersed around. And those who are focused, they can achieve great things. The planets that are focused in one position, but it's kind of the energy of Mars. There's restlessness, and there is like a drive and hunger, and it's kind of a bit more painful emotionally on the inside.
Yeah, but I think that it shows us how things actually work in life, because you can be really successful in something if you don't struggle, if there is no tension. It's just not the way these things work. But you know, when you know your capacity, when you know what to expect, when to focus, where to focus your energy, I think it's very helpful. And you just get to know yourself better, and that's why I think that astrology is so important and so helpful for all of us. You get to know yourself. You understand people also. You understand other people, and you know what to expect. You learn to forgive others, to forgive yourself, and to
not to judge them, not to be hard on themselves, or you know, it's that's what it is. And when you accept things, everything goes so much easier. Always react defensively to everything. Why is she looking at me like that? Well, she has Pluto on her ascendant. Of course, she'll look like that, like to everyone. You know. What about if we have a jumbling of like most of the planets are above the horizon? This is, or how would you interpret it according to Western astrology?
Usually these people, they are more focused on their social life. The upper side of the horoscope is related to our social activeness, social appearance. And these people, they are more interested in how things look for other people. For them, it's very important, you know, to look successful, to impress others, to have some kind of social state. Also, even career, it's in the upper side of the horoscope. That's the main focus.
Yeah, I know. I have 3 best friends with this position, and it's very true for them. And they kind of, according to medieval or Renaissance astrology, it was the houses from the 1st till the 7th, but above the horizon, basically from the 12th till the 7th. Are considered to be the first part of one's life. There is such a, and I've noticed that, and such people tend to be able to become visible and better known early in life, fast in the first part of life, and to have successful achievements. In Vedic astrology, they say it's very fortunate to have all the planets above the horizon, because you become prosperous or more successful somehow. Wow, people, the invisible part of the horizon is considered to be like the second part of life, the from 40 onwards till 80. So if you have most of the planets there, maybe the second part of your life will be more productive, and will be more kind of happening, so to speak. But usually thanks to my astrologer teacher, one of my astrology teachers used to say that if you have most of the planets below the horizon, life will be a little bit more difficult. And because you're in the first part, you're trying to find yourself, and it's kind of, you're like an iceberg, even like you're not seen on the surface, you're below, and you're experiencing all those inner emotions and private depth.
Yeah, the down part of the horoscope, it's more related with our subjective, you know, our personal opinion, our emotions, and that's why. You know, it might be more difficult for us, really, because it's something that we experience on the inside. It's not so easy to manifest it on the outside.
It's more feminine energy as well. Not people.
Like I have which are the planets, you know, there are planets which are more harmonious when they are in the upper side. For example, Saturn, Jupiter, and the Sun, they're more harmonious when they are in the upper side.
They give more success. These are the day planets. So
yes, exactly.
Yeah, while Venus, Mars, and the Moon are better off below the horizon, guys.
Yes, they are night planets, and it's more harmonious if they're in the down part of the horoscope.
That's called the haze, isn't it? Haze.
Yeah.
But I've noticed even people that, like with me, they have so many, oh, my planets ain't masculine signs, but I have so many planets below the horizon. It kind of balances a little bit out that masculinity as well. But it definitely makes you more withdrawn as well, a little bit more maybe withdrawn from society, more spending time away.
Yes, these people have a more intense inner experiences, you know, their own inner world. They're not so ready to share everything with others, and they shouldn't, actually. It's not for that. Yes, so that's one of the separations. The other is the left and the right side of the horoscope.
East and west. East is where the side where the ascendant.
The ascendant, yes.
So it's kind of, it will look the opposite of how maps are, basically.
Yes, exactly.
So it will be like on the left side.
On the left is eastern. The eastern part of the horoscope. This is related with our personal actions, you know, our efforts, our personality. People who have most of the planets in this part, usually their life depends more on their own, on their personal decision, on their desires, you know, and they have to be more active. As we said, everything has positive and negative side. For them, sometimes they may feel that there are not people who are supporting them, for example, but they can be also great leaders.
So, they can be selfish assholes.
You know, here we also need to analyze the quadrants of the horoscope.
Yeah, I know.
Because the first quadrant is related with what you said. When you're only focused on your own personal desires and you don't want to make compromises. Usually these people, it's very difficult for them to make compromises. And the opposite when most of the planets are in the western part of the horoscope. Usually these people, in some way, they depend on other people. You know,
their life is connected somehow to, like, it's more determined by outer circumstances as well, I've noticed.
Yes, exactly. And they should learn to cooperate with others. You know, if you know that my case is all of my planets are in the western part of the horoscope. Yeah, so for me, I should work with others, you know.
Yeah.
And when you know that, you know that you can be more successful when you cooperate with others.
True.
Yeah, and that's why it's very useful, you know, because in some way, yes, I will always depend on some way on other people, but if you're aware of that, you know that you can use it as some kind of positive thing.
Yeah, you don't go banging your head on your own.
Yeah, exactly. And the positive thing is that you can be more diplomatic, you know, you can create relations with others.
Yeah.
You can get close with others, cooperate with them. So everything works both ways, positive, negative. It's up to us, and it's also we also need to learn how to control all this energy.
It's so amazing. Astrology can be so helpful.
Yeah. Astrology is great. Yeah,
I
it's
know. It's like, some people are meant to do their own startups and to to have bosses. Others are better off to cooperate and partner. And it's such a great strategy if someone tells you, this is how you're going to succeed better. Why go and try? You've eventually reached the same conclusions, but life will spin in that direction.
Yes, there are some things that you just need to accept. You can't change them, and it would be better for you if you use them in a positive way.
Oh, by the way, next time they want us to talk, maybe to talk about the Uranus-Jupiter opposition, what it do, and also the Jupiter-Pluto square. We're gonna do this a free reading, but we're gonna schedule, guys. So don't forget, on the 24th of September, we have the Children's Psychology webinar, and you can purchase it after that. The people that watch it directly, there will be 15 minutes Q&A at the end. That's what they can benefit. Maybe we'll answer 2, 3, or 4 questions. But otherwise, even if you're not present live, you get all the information you need, and you can email Marina if you have some specific questions after that, if you couldn't understand something from the webinar. But then we're going to make a webinar on configurations in the horoscope. These are the matrix of the horoscope, the shapes that it makes, and what it means for your life. It's like your life strategy, what we're talking about. Whether your life strategy is to be in partnerships, life strategies to succeed is to be a leader, life strategies later on, early in life, all those things will be revealed through those foundational, how do I say, combinations and shapes.
Configurations. There are some kind of configurations.
Astrology configurations, we'll call it.
Yes. Yes. In the Russian astrology, it's almost the most important thing to observe. If you have the exact configuration, not line aspect. For example, if you have a square between the Sun and Mars, for example, and there is no other planet that makes aspect with both of these planets. It's a line aspect. But if you have a tau square, for example, an opposition and a planet which makes
it's a complete figure. Yeah.
Yes. That's an incredible potential for you, even if it's from a difficult aspect. Even in that case, you're more, you can use this energy because it can flow more easily. Yeah, you can control.
Yeah, as you said, also there is connection between the modalities. Say they're in fixed signs, even though they're very different, like earth, fire, air, but they have the modality of fixity, so you can work through that as well.
Yes, exactly. So it's very important.
I've seen extremely successful people with grand squares, and it's just they became one of the biggest business people in London or something like that. And they have super nice personalities as well, which is surprising. But it's kind of, you can see from the more exact figure someone has, the more fated, as you said, their life is. And the more kind of often they might come to their mission in life easier or faster to understand because of this fatedness. Things spin them there in that direction.
Yes, and they can be more successful, especially in the material world. They can receive more visible results from their efforts if you have a close configuration of planets. And that's very, very important. And it's better to have a tau square than not have a configuration at all. It's better.
Configuration, yeah. Yeah, because the energy it's a structure, it's spun, yeah. Actually, Vedic astrology says when planets are on angles from each other, it creates Raj yogas. Raj yogas are prosperity yogas because when they're in the cross, even though in astrology it's considered the most difficult you know, to have a grand cross or tower cross, planets on 90 degrees or 180 degrees from each other, in Western astrology is considered, it's emotionally very bruising because it's stressful inside. There is inner tension, pressure. But Vedic astrology didn't care about psychological things. And it said that these people will be successful in their life because the cross is the sign of the matter. They can manifest in matter much more, with much more success as well. This creative tension that happens, anyway, anger.
Yes,
initiative.
People with grand cross usually, you know, with square configuration. It can be from other aspects also, even from the no, not square aspect. It has to be a grand cross, or from the minor aspects, let's say quintiles and those types. We can discuss it also in another webinar because that's a very large topic. But if you have a square configuration, you're very strong on the inside, but you can adapt to changes. That's why, yes, and that's why these people, they create the rules around them. But if you put them in circumstances that they have to change, to be they can be flexible. That's
what if it's in a mutable signs?
Even from them, no, even for them.
Like because unless there is some outlet, some planet that makes an aspect that breaks through that figure somehow, through a trine or something, maybe.
Yeah, that's the exit. But when I said that they're not flexible, I mean that it also can be a positive because these people, they try to define the rules, to control the outer circumstances, to control their life. So it's also these people are very strong. With Grand Cross, you're definitely very strong.
Yeah.
And you need to define the rules. You need to control your life. Yes.
Yeah. And because of that control, this is when people tend to manifest as well.
Yes, they're really strong. And if the configuration is triangle, even the tau square, those people are more adaptable. Even with these squares in opposition, they're more flexible. They can learn to get used to some new circumstances, change their strategy in some way. But they're more flexible, generally speaking, if you have a triangle configuration. And there are different configurations. The tau square is one of them, but you can also have, for example, bisextile. It's a very positive configuration.
Oh, the one that looks like a little roof, like that.
Yes, it's you have one trine and two sextiles.
One of my teachers says, like, oh, it's like an angel with wings that's protecting you, like a roof house that's protected there somehow.
The roof, I think they call the roof is one sextile and two semi-sextiles.
No. She just says that it looks like a roof.
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of, And I'm not doing the Illuminati symbol, guys. Some people have been telling me, oh, she's from the Illuminati, she's doing this. I had one picture where I'm like, would I be super rich if I was from the Illuminati. Anyway, not that I want to. But let's get back to astrology. So,
configurations are really important. That's the basics of astrology. That's the starting point when you can understand so much about the person. How the planets look, which is the first planet. For example, if you have if you have many planets in one area of your horoscope, which is the first planet, which is the last planet, that's very important.
And that's the first one.
Yeah, the locomotive, also the knot.
The knot.
Yeah, it's when you have all of the planets in 120 degrees of the horoscope, 1/3 of the horoscope.
The bundle as well, it's known. The bundle is 90 degrees, I guess. I don't know.
No, we have 120.
Yeah.
We have a cup configuration, which is half 180. There are different types, but finds the motivation of the person, what you start things even, and which is the planet, and that can give you. The other thing is which is the last planet. It shows which is your goal, what can motivate you, what you want to achieve in your life, and how you end up things, how you finish them. For example, if you have Neptune, if Neptune is your last planet, one option is you start something, but after all, you are not sure how to finish it because, you know, Neptune is a little bit more undefined.
So the final result is always blurry.
Yeah, exactly.
If Neptune is your last planet,
yeah,
or it kind of it's not what you planned. It kind of forms into something different than you expect.
Yes, or for example, the positive side is that your final goal is, for example, to help others, you know, to spiritual development, all kind of these things that are related with the positive side of Neptune.
Yeah.
So, and every planet has a different meaning, a different influence. And when you have a first planet, for example, if Mars is the first planet and it's in Libra, if you say Mars in Libra is very weak, usually, you know, when astrologers analyze it, they say Mars in Libra, it's in a pole position, it's very weak, the person don't have a personal will, you know, he's very weak.
That's a cardinal sign. It's startup.
Yeah, but it's not exactly, it's not so accurate because if it's your first planet, that's your motivation, that's how you start things. If you start things
what motivates sex? Everything
no, to be independent.
I'm kidding. I'm gonna start this business so I can get more sex. But yeah, to be independent, to be
to show that you're strong. That
maybe someone pissed you off and you said, "I'll show you." Someone bullied you at school and you said, "I'll show you." I might be short and bold, but I'll be super successful.
Yeah, and also how you start things. If it's Mars, you start very fast. You don't hesitate. You feel strong, confident. If it's the Moon, let's say, you hesitate. You're focused on your emotions. You know, your moods define your motivation. And one day you might be, you know, really motivated. On the next day you might be very passive. You know, the Moon is very changeable.
Not everyone has those starting and ending planets. This is just in specific configuration, and we're going to talk about those on the configuration webinar, which will be just, you know, which I will announce. We'll put within a couple of hours of this video. I'll put what day do you want? You have to tell me which day we should do it. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, we should think about it. We can do it in October. I think it would be an appropriate time.
But I should put the link now because people might be interested. Maybe
okay.
Not on the 10th. We have a webinar, another webinar on the 10th. Maybe around the 20th.
You want it to be on? Does it matter if which day of the week it is? If it's Saturday or Sunday, or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't. You find the date astrology good that people might
okay, I will choose it then.
And we'll put within an hour or two a link to that webinar, guys. And it's going to be on a very reasonable price as well, so everyone can afford it. So we have enough time of a month to save. So anyway.
Yes, also another thing that I think that would be very interesting for people, I noticed that we have many questions about the lunar nodes. So I think that we can make a webinar for that and explain what does it mean. Yes, what does it mean to have your south node, for example, in Aries? What does it mean to have a node in conjunction with a planet? What does it mean to have
astrology, guys? Karmic astrology. Oh, cool.
Yes, inversion.
We'll do that for Halloween. Isn't that perfect time for karmic? We're going to talk about past lifetimes and and something like. I think that'd be a great webinar. But let's first do the one maybe on the 15th or 16th with those configurations. I'm super interested to learn the Western point of view for the configuration. I've studied them, but I want your input, and I'll be giving the Vedic point of because Vedic also has configurations, and I will tell you what each configuration means in Vedic as well. So we'll combine both.
Yeah, that would be great, I think.
Perfect. Well, Marina, I'm not going to hold you anymore because it's very late. It's 11 o'clock your night time. You have to go to your nightclub and go party now. It's Saturday night after all. You're young. Stop working, stop astrology. Yesterday, Marina sent me an email with the last horoscope she's done. She had like 35 horoscopes in the last few weeks. I mean, guys, this is like, I do one horoscope a whole day. I don't know how you manage to do it. You have a child. Don't you have a party and go out? I mean.
Oh, yeah, I go out. You know, I just learned to be very fast. That's very important for me. And my Mars is very strong because...
Capricorn.
No, it's in Pisces, but it's on the cusp of 10th house. It's
okay.
Yeah, and it's in conjunction with my moon, which rules my ascendant. So everything is really fast, yeah. And,
yeah, for sure.
Always ready.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much again. So interesting. We have to do one within a few weeks again, and maybe talk about. You said let's talk about relationships, planets in 7th house, and how you do compatibilities and how you look at compatibilities. People will find that very interesting. But
yes.
Yeah, we'll give some preview on. Marina is like, I think, the most favorite astrologer on the website, after me, of course. We can't argue. My moon is in Leo, so.
Yeah, of course.
Marina prices are very affordable as well, and she does those amazing services like the 10-year horoscope, when like very few astrologers in the world will give you a 10-year horoscope, and she bases it on the big event, when planets are visible in your horoscope. And when a planet is visible, this is the time for when things fruition on the material level. Say if your Venus becomes invisible, your love life becomes invisible as well. But in 2 or 3 years, it might become visible. So for 5, 6 years, so then your love life will become much more prominent, and or if your Saturn is invisible for a few years and then becomes visible, something to do with your career. And she also bases on the house, because personally what it rules for you. So it's really amazing report, guys. But she does nutritional, children horoscope, predictive relocations. My God, she's amazing. She's a powerhouse of work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us again. I always learn so much with those videos and free webinars that we do. People love you as well. Give me a nice picture of you. I'm waiting for that. I need a picture to post on YouTube. And when you take the picture, do it against the sunlight. Not the sunlight shouldn't be behind you. Be more vain, girl. For God's sake, be more vain.
Yeah, I know. I need to do that.
Thank you so much. We love you, Marina. And we'll see you soon. And please come and join us on the 24th. Amazing child astrology, psychological child astrology. And anyone who wants to, it's kind of for every amateur, professional astrologer, or anyone who wants to understand themselves psychologically. This is an amazing webinar. So thank you so much. We'll see you soon again with Marina. And again, send your questions to us, and we'll try to cover some of them. Today we covered just almost none of your questions. But we talked about interesting things as well. So thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Marina.
Thank you. Bye.
Go party now. Bye. Bye.